Tropical Cyclone Jasper is expected to cross the Queensland coast in just over 24 hours' time. So let's take a look at the latest updates. Our current tropical cyclone warning extends from Cape Flattery down to Townsville and inland to Chillagoe. In these areas, we expect to see sustained gale force winds, with damaging winds up to 120 kilometres an hour developing from later this afternoon. Now, winds of this strength can easily bring down tree limbs, whole trees or power lines, damaging fences, roofs and other property. Additionally, we're going to see rainfall picking up over the next 12 to 18 hours as well, even as the system is offshore. It's currently sitting around 260 kilometres to the east-northeast of Cairns as a Category 1 tropical cyclone. Over the next 12 to 18 hours, it is expected to re-intensify into a Category 2 system and continue its westerly track towards the Queensland coast. At this point, we expect Jasper to make a coastal crossing close to Port Douglas around lunchtime tomorrow, or pushing into the early afternoon. However, the timing and location of this coastal crossing may yet change. In the past, tropical cyclones have been known to slow down, speed up, or change direction even at the 11th hour. It is essential to keep up to date in these last few hours before the crossing. One way or the other, we expect to see destructive winds developing between Innisfail and Wudjil through early tomorrow morning. Now, these are winds in excess of 140 kilometres an hour, with wind gusts even stronger. We'll also see rain increasing, with flash flooding likely. Abnormally high sea levels are also expected as this system approaches. We call that a storm surge. If it occurs on the low tide, the impacts are likely to be more moderate. But if it occurs on the high tide, they're likely to be more widespread and much more serious. One way or the other, if you live between Cooktown and Townsville in those lower lying areas, be aware that we could see some minor coastal flooding or other inundation impacts as this system nears. So what will it do after it crosses the coast? We're expecting it to track westwards, weakening into a tropical low before moving towards the Gulf of Carpentaria late in the week, going into early next weekend. Now, even though it is expected to weaken to a tropical low, the rain and wind will continue as it crosses Cape York. Looking at the rainfall totals accumulating over the next few days, we're expecting some very high falls, particularly close to that coastal crossing. Flood watches are in place for rivers across these areas, with riverine flooding likely to continue for a number of days after the cyclone passes. In fact, most of the impacts for the east coast of Queensland are likely to linger until the end of the week, going into next weekend. Another thing to note is that as XTC Jasper moves over the Gulf of Carpentaria, it may re-intensify into a tropical cyclone over the weekend into early next week. So stay on top of the updates for that one. With the coastal crossing likely in just over 24 hours' time, now is the time to keep up to date via the Bureau's website or the BOM social media and with your local emergency services. Keep safe and we'll catch you in the next update.